Hello, class. Our president today is one James K. Polk, who is a very interesting president. Um, what he was able to do was he ran on a campaign promise that he was going to, in his first term, he was going to annex Texas, expand the United States to the Southwest, get Oregon Territory, and then only serve one term. And in his term, he went right after Texas. Texas became part of the United States. We won the Mexican-American War. He expanded territory there, and he got the Oregon Territory as well. And then he didn't run for re-election. So, in terms of like presidential promises and success stories, Polk is way up there. The dispute is whether or not his aims were worthwhile aims. So, James K. Polk was born November 2nd, 1795. He died June 15th, 1849. Home state is Tennessee. And by matter of religion, he was a Methodist. So the last two presidents have been Whigs, but now their pendulum has swung back. And James K. Polk is a Democrat. Now his wife is Sarah, and she's a bit younger than him, but he dies relatively young too. So when he dies, she is going to outlive him by 42 years. It's the longest time First Lady has been a widow. So he's in office from March 4th, 1845 to March 4th, 1849. And his vice president is George M. Dallas. He is one of the probable namesakes of the city of Dallas in Texas. So James K. Polk has an interesting thing there because he becomes a House representative from Tennessee, and then he will become Speaker of the House. And when he becomes Speaker of the House, he's only 40 years old. Then he leaves Congress to become governor of Tennessee. In 1844, he's what we call a dark horse candidate at the convention. Okay, they don't have primaries yet. Okay, so everyone just there for delegates. And so there might be two people that people have strong opinions about, and no one can get a majority. So they come with some third guy everyone can agree on, kind of, and that's James K. Polk. So he wins the election saying that we should annex Mexico, not annex Texas from Mexico. And this is seen as a mandate. So John Tyler and the lame duck session passes that through. So Polk goes in with Texas a part of the United States. The Mexican-American War breaks out. And James K. Polk is going to pursue this. And before his presidency is over, the United States has won the war. Okay? It's a lot of U.S. victories against Mexico. Their military did not perform particularly well in this war, and Mexico City is being occupied. And so the treaty that comes out of that, Texas stays part of the U.S., and we have New Mexico, Arizona, parts of Colorado, California going to be purchased. Also, during this time, he reaches a deal with the British over Oregon Territory, purchasing it without any need for a war. So he kept his promise, and his other promise was that he wasn't going to run for another term, so he doesn't, even though he surely would have won an election. And then he leaves office in March of 1849, and he's in his 50s, And he then dies 4 months later? 3 months later. Yeah. So he doesn't have much of a post-presidency. So even if he had been reelected, he likely would have died in office. We may have had a president, George Dallas. So his legacy is tied up in the U.S. acquisition of land in the Southwest of California, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, which in the short term expanded slavery in the United States. But that whole legacy is the legacy of James K. Polk, who, in terms of getting what he claimed he was going to get done, is a top tier president. People just disagree on whether or not his aims were the correct ones to use at that time.